Hello and welcome to Salty About Health. My name is Dalaney and I'm here with my mom and co-host, Mary. So Mom, why are we salty about health?
Good question. It's because both of us have had struggles, some more serious than others, and no one showed us simple ways we could jump into the driver's seat and take control.
And why are we sharing our views with our listeners?
Well, because we want our listeners to realize that it may take time, but with some simple knowledge about health, they'll be able to make a few changes and dig deeper to take control of their well being and live a more vibrant life.
That's fantastic. But right now, before we get into all of that, we just need to do some housekeeping. Here we go. This is an opinion-based podcast. This is not in any way offered as a diagnosis or treatment for any disease, illness, or infirmity for physical or mental condition or any other condition you may have. We are not doctors or practitioners of any kind. Persons needing medical care should obtain it from a medical practitioner. So, consult your practitioner before making any health decision. The opinions offered here in this podcast are ours alone. Again, we're not doctors, and the banter you're going to be listening to is our view and our view alone. Okay, that's done. We, of course, also want to have an open dialogue with our listeners. So stay tuned to the end of the episode, and we'll let you know all of the ways that we can connect. Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you here for episode 23. Whoa, today Mom decided to pick a heavy subject, depression. As usual, we're going to load you up with information that could help you or someone you know deal with this issue. So, Mom, I think that today's episode will be very helpful for so many people because I think a lot more people are probably dealing with bouts of depression due to the pandemic.
I agree with you, Delaney. The world has been through a lot in the last year, and that affects people's mental health. So let's start off with the definition of depression according to the Mayo Clinic. Depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest, also called major depressive disorder or clinical depression. It affects how you feel, think, and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. You may have trouble doing normal day-to-day activities, and sometimes you may feel as if life just isn't worth living. More than just a bout of the blues, depression isn't a weakness, and you can't simply snap out of it. So today we will be talking about natural ways to support yourself if you are feeling depressed or have been diagnosed with depression.
Okay, so before we go any further, I'm going to let our listeners know some of the symptoms of depression according to that Mayo Clinic website. So, symptoms may include feelings of sadness, tearfulness, emptiness, or hopelessness, angry outbursts, irritable or frustrated, even over small matters, loss of interest or pleasure in most or all normal activities, such as sex, hobbies, sports. This is me adding it, but even like probably eating and drinking too, right? Like you just, yeah.
Oh, I think
Uh,
so.
Sleep disturbances, including insomnia or sleeping too much, tiredness and lack of energy, so that even small tasks can take extra effort. There it is, reduced appetite and weight loss or increased cravings for food and weight gain, anxiety, agitation, or restlessness, slowed thinking, speaking, or body movements, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, fixating on past failures or self blame, trouble thinking, concentrating, making decisions, and remembering things, frequent or recurrent thoughts of death, suicidal thoughts, suicide attempts, or suicide, unexpected physical problems such as back pains or headaches. So these symptoms can be severe enough to cause noticeable problems in your day-to-day activities, such as work, school, social activities, or relationships with others. And some people may feel generally miserable or unhappy without really knowing why. And also, I know like um, Robin Williams is an example. Like he's kind of the opposite. Like he masked it so well that nobody knew, but that he was struggling with this for so long too. So I think,
And well, he had a condition, a medical condition he knew was getting worse,
okay.
something like Parkinson's. And
Oh,
you're right, and he knew it wasn't getting better, and he just didn't want to go down that
yeah.
road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is depression. Just when you hear bad medical news, etc., a lot of things can put you into depression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after listening to that, everyone I know thinks that they have depression. But if you have listened to any of our prior episodes, you know how Delaney and I feel about lists of symptoms. Basically, we have probably all had some of these symptoms, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that we have depression. So,
Yay, the
moving on.
internet.
So, moving on, the fact is that some things affect some people more than others. And some seem to shrug off adverse events, while others become depressed every time things do not run smoothly. So remember, it is only when an individual fails to recover after the causative event has passed that such a permanently depressed state becomes a clinical illness.
So let's get into what may be causing your depression from a nutritional point of view. According to Dr. William Veda in his book, The Psychonutrition Guide, Mood Foods, that's a catchy name, Mood Foods. uh, we know that depression can be caused by almost anything: lowered immune responses, candida, alcohol abuse or overindulgence, vitamin B12 deficiencies, an imbalance or deficiency of several minerals, nutrients, amino acids, different kinds of anemia, malabsorption, hypoglycemia, or even food allergies. All the things.
Yes, yes. And in the book, Never Be Sick Again, our favorite people, Francis with Kester Cotton, give an example of a patient they call Albert. He was suffering from a serious, untreatable depression for a decade. He described his life as a living hell and he was suicidal. Albert subsisted on a diet of mostly processed foods and he was addicted to sugar. The author suggests that he eliminate sugar and incorporate fresh fruits and vegetables into his diet. He also put him on a supplement program of specific vitamins and essential fatty acids. That's very important.
Mhm.
In less than a week after starting the diet, Albert called to say that he felt as if a great burden had been lifted from him and he was no longer feeling suicidal. The author goes on to say that, in fact, poor nutrition is the leading cause of depression and many other diseases. And that's the author's point of view.
Yeah.
I can tell you, essential fatty acids are so key. They're
Hmm.
great for your brain, they're great for your hormones. You know, we need to make sure we do have a balanced diet.
Yeah. And I'm sure, I mean, this is the very beginning of the podcast, so I'm sure you might answer this later. But I'm slightly curious because I know a few people who have been diagnosed with depression at a very, very, very young age. So I'm just curious if like there's other things besides food that affect, that could be affecting it for
Oh,
them.
there definitely is,
Yeah,
but remember our podcasts usually deal with nutrition
it does. Yeah.
and helping people do what they can to maybe change that. And again, people should try this because I know a very low vitamin D level is there's a direct causality with depression in a lot
Okay.
of studies.
Oh, yeah. But also, Stephanie Dixon, a registered dietitian in San Francisco, agrees that certain dietary habits are definitely associated with mood changes. People turn to pasta or desserts when they're depressed, and because these foods have a deep effect on brain chemicals, they affect your mood. If someone is depressed, it's wise to see if their diet has something to do with it. And that goes back to our sugar or our blood glucose episode too, because we were talking about like when you are feeling tired and down, your body starts craving those carbs because it's like sugar and fat that can get through the blood brain membrane, right?
The blood-brain barrier.
Barrier,
You're
yeah.
talking it was sugar, just all your cells use sugar.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were talking about insulin and the roller coaster effect, because if
Mhm.
you have sugar, then your body puts out a lot of insulin, and then all of a sudden it takes it all away, and then you need more to get back up, and it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So they should listen to that episode. Okay, so let me expand on that a little bit. This information comes from the book Food for Health and Healing. So think what you eat and drink each day. Think about that. A few cups of coffee can make you jumpy and short tempered. Chocolate provides an energy high for a while, but once the effect wears off, you feel more sluggish than before you ate the sugar. A bowl of pasta calms you at first and then makes you feel drowsy. That's what Delaney was referencing. And a glass of at least two things of wine makes you feel relaxed and less uptight, but later you feel tired and cranky. All of this happens because the brain's neurotransmitters, and the neurotransmitters, that's the function of a neurotransmitter, is either to excite or to inhibit the firing of brain synapses and thus to stimulate or mute brain activity. Some neurotransmitters have a general effect, while others have a more specific role in the brain chemistry. So the neurotransmitters regulate behavior and are controlled by what you eat. The neurotransmitters in the brain are dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. When your brain produces serotonin, tension is lowered. When the brain produces dopamine or norepinephrine, you feel alert and are able to think and act quickly.
So let's give the listeners a clue to what neurotransmitters they may be low in by describing the symptoms they may have if they are low in a certain neurotransmitter. And this information comes from the book Heal Your Body, Cure Your Mind by Dr. Amit Agarwal. Nope, I said it German. Agarwal?
Yeah, I think that's
ND?
it.
Okay, yep. So first,
It
I
is
did.
today.
I went V with the W. Oops. Okay.
I do that all the time too. We lived in Germany too long.
We did, and it's kind of I even do it with like I'll try to put like Spanish flair on stuff too, even if it's like a French name. I try to sound it out how I would have in Spanish class, and that doesn't make sense either.
No, I don't think the French would think so either.
No. Okay. But let's see. First, we're going to talk about dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure. It helps you feel relaxed, motivated, which is weird that you can be relaxed and motivated, alert, and happy. If you feel unmotivated, can't concentrate, or constantly craving coffee, chocolate, or other stimulants, or is it stimuli?
I don't know. I just took the quote from the book.
Okay, that is definitely
Called the
stimulants.
publisher and the editor.
Anyways, if you're craving those, you're likely low in dopamine. And this is associated with incoherent thoughts, ADD, and depression. So, dopamine also controls physical progress. Physical processes, including digestion, heart and muscle control, and very importantly, thyroid function.
Okay, now we're going to move on to serotonin. It calms your nerves, rescues your stress response, helps your sleep better, gives you a sense of comfort, and increases your ability to feel pleasure. Serotonin is produced both in your brain and small intestine, which is why digestive health is so crucial to emotional well-being. When serotonin is low, your ability to feel pleasure decreases. You're likely more depressed, worried, and anxious. You may have trouble sleeping and be more prone to obsessive compulsive disorder, obsessive thoughts, sleep disturbances, panic, disorders, negative thoughts, phobias, fears, aggressive behavior, irritability, self-criticism, low self-esteem, and suicidal tendencies. You may also have to have the same routine or keep to familiar surroundings and have a fear of trying new things or going to new places. Low levels of serotonin also create carbohydrate cravings.
And then norepinephrine is produced in your brain and by your adrenal glands. So this keeps you alert, active, speeds up your breathing, constricts blood vessels, increases your heart rate, increases your blood pressure. It is one of your fight or flight neurotransmitters along with adrenaline. So nope, I lost it. Norepinephrine levels should naturally decrease when alertness and important activities are not required, though very low levels are linked to depression. When it remains elevated or over elevated, people actually suffer from insomnia and tend to experience feelings of fear, panic, or anxiety. During panic attacks, when people experience a rapid heart rate and rapid breathing, it is usually norepinephrine and adrenaline that are elevated.
So my question to the listeners is, which one of the neurotransmitters do you think you're low in? And Dalaney, does any of that resonate with you? Can you pick one of those that if you would think you were low in?
If I had to pick, let's see. I may right now in this moment go with the first one because I feel like I definitely crave chocolate a lot. Or just comfort food. So I don't know. I mean, I'm also taking a really good vitamin right now, so I also slightly am getting way better, and I feel like I've experienced all of these at some point, especially over the last year, but like the past month with my new vitamin, like you said, like getting the minerals and stuff I need, I have been feeling these less.
Oh, good. Good. I just talked about that before we started recording. I just told someone else that they needed to get a great multivitamin and raise all their levels. And I did tell them the one that you were taking. They kind of laughed because, of course, they're older than you are. But so yeah, so who knows? She may try that one. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel I'm one or the other, but I'm more of a type of person. I know when my obsessive compulsive gets out of hand, I'm one of those people, a little obsessive compulsive, then obviously I need to be looking at my serotonin.
Okay.
But I don't have panic disorders. But yeah, I would probably have to say serotonin for me. So when we get down further, we can see what we can do to change that.
And I mean, like feeling anxious and then having like a full-on panic disorder, I'm sure there's like a spectrum there, so you might just like be on there somewhere. Like you're not having a full-blown panic attack, but I've definitely had days where I just like feel anxious and worry about everything, even like stuff that is not in my control.
Is that going down since you've been taking those great vitamins?
Yes, but and again, I think it's linked to, because when you are depressed, you do less. Like, like we were talking about, like you physically are moving slower. So with this vitamin, I have had more energy and I've been accomplishing more of my to-do list. And then that helps decrease my anxiety because I feel like I'm making progress. So I feel like that can be a cycle that you get stuck in with this, is because like you're worried about stuff, but then like you can't physically move to get it done. And then you worry about it more, and then it grows and grows and grows.
Well, see, I thought you said that perfectly. And it shows that the reason that some people may not be motivated, etc., is again a nutritional issue to get those vitamins up. I know when one of your uncles started taking vitamins, it was funny. He said to me, he said, you definitely have a lot more energy, know. So we're talking about the uncle who doesn't seem like he has a lot of energy, not the one that does. I know you have on my side the one that has loads of energy.
He is a
And then we
man
have
of
one that
few words.
yes. But so that was perfectly stated, which I think that's why a lot of people need to look into that if their foods are balanced, etc.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's give our listeners some possible food solutions. Again, we want our listeners to be their own health detectives. So if you know you have a food sensitivity to some of the foods on the list, then don't consume them.
Mhm.
The information came from an article on verywellmind.com, which is also in the notes along with all the books we've spoken about. And in the show notes, there is also an article from WebMD, but which we're not going to talk about right now. But if our listeners Google foods that help with depression, they will be linked to tons of
Mhm.
articles. And looking through the articles, what they all have in common is that eating whole food, whole nutritious foods is important. And again, listen to this episode again, and then maybe and look up serotonin and dopamine and norepinephrine, and kind of maybe you can figure out which one you're having an issue with.
Right. So here we go. And again, whatever your dietary preference is, there are a variety of options that can provide mood boosting benefits. So just be conscious of which foods impact your mood and can help you better manage symptoms of depression. So, first on the list, we have fish, which I'd like to say I just had some fish for dinner.
Oh yeah.
um, Wild caught fish,
What kind?
especially. Um, it was a white fish, and so it's white fish is good because it's less fatty than the salmon, which I really
Oh,
really
but those
like.
omega-3s are wonderful
Yep, but like
for
it's
you.
also very nondescript, but I seasoned it so it was delicious with my herbs and
Oh,
spices. Anyways, I think
sounds
this was
yummy.
also wild caught. So, and especially the more oily types, such as salmon, which I love, mackerel, trout, sardines, which I don't love, and tuna, not canned, are great choices to help fight depression, especially like mahi mahi tuna or ahi ahi. They're two different they're two different cuts, but if you can cook it right, it is amazing. They are rich in sources of omega-3 fats. And why are omega-3 fats important? Well, they're good for your brain health and they may be involved in the functioning of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that is important to the regulation of your mood. And what's more, researchers have analyzed 26 previously published studies, which have involved more than 150,000 participants, that examined the link between fish consumption and the risk of depression. The study, which was published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health, found that people who consumed the most fish were less likely to experience symptoms of depression.
Well, let me add then this, which
Okay.
I think I said serotonin because I can be obsessive compulsive, and sure enough, it'll kick up. And I haven't been eating a lot of fish lately because I have a histamine issue and I have to get it fresh frozen. So it's got to be frozen. I have to cook it from a frozen state,
Mhm.
and I'm lazy. So instead of just having fresh, which is easier to cook, well, I mean, you can cook anything, but I don't think of that. And I have the fish, it's wild caught in my freezer, but I don't. And now reading this over, I need to start eating more fish. So after writing this episode, though, I did order fish, a good omega-3 source off the internet. So I'll let you know if that helps.
Mhm. Okay.
And when you get an omega-3, a fish a fish oil supplement, get molecularly distilled because that's where they take all the metals out, and that's important
Mm.
because fish have mercury and heavy metals.
Yeah.
Okay, so nuts. Walnuts seem to be the winner in this category. Walnuts are known to support overall brain health, being one of the highest plant-based sources of omega-3 and a great source of protein to help keep blood sugar levels at a healthy balance. Researchers examined data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, which draws from a large sampling of more than 26,000 American adults. They found that adults who ate nuts, and more specifically walnuts, were more likely to have higher levels of optimism, energy, hope, concentration, and a greater interest in activities. There you
Very
go.
cool.
That's your essential fatty acids, your omega-3s, but nuts do have a lot of omega-6 too, but
Mhm.
as long as you stay away from processed foods and you eat more snacks like nuts. I prefer macadamia nuts, but
Blech.
I love I love walnuts though too. Why? What's your favorite nut? Your husband?
Ah, what a
Nut.
nut. No. I think I walnuts are up there, probably walnuts. And then I really like pistachios. I don't think they have as much health benefit at all.
I'm shaking my head.
I know,
I'm sure
but they're
they
tasty.
do. I'm sure
But
they're
if you
higher in
prepare them, as everybody listened to our sprouting and soaking episode, because nuts are great, but you can make them even better if you do a little bit of stuff to them before you eat them.
sprouting and soaking. That's right.
Yep. Speaking of, beans are something else that you can soak, though Mom and I get frustrated with how long it takes. But, right? Yes.
We do.
She looked confused and I
Lentils,
was
though,
like, you said that.
lentils you can just cook. Beans you
Yes.
have to soak.
Yep.
Or buy them canned.
Yep. But beans are a great source of protein and fiber, both of which help to maintain stable and consistent blood sugar levels. Yay. In addition to helping minimize the blood sugar spikes and dips that can affect our moods, beans are also a great source of folate. And folate is a B vitamin that helps the body produce blood cells, DNA, and RNA, and metabolize proteins.
Okay, so seeds, flaxseed and chia seeds are wonderful additions to your diet if you struggle with depression. These two types of seeds are particularly great sources of omega-3 fats. Just 1 tablespoon of chia seeds provides approximately 61% of your daily recommended amount of omega-3, and 1 tablespoon of flaxseed provides roughly 39% of the daily recommendation. Additionally, pumpkin and squash seeds are great ways to increase tryptophan, and tryptophan is an essential amino acid that helps create serotonin. So there you go. And every fall we cut open pumpkins and make our own pumpkin seeds, don't we? We flavor them and dry them out, and they are.
Yep.
And Delaney's so kind as to do all the work for the carving and cutting them out. The seeds out.
But also you can, pepitas are also pumpkin seeds. Fun fact.
Yes, they are.
So if you're looking for them at the grocery store, they could be disguised as pepitas.
And they taste yummy. And they're also, pumpkin seeds are also a great anti-parasitic.
Oh,
there you go.
Win, 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 win.
That's right.
So another one is poultry. So chicken and turkey are both great sources of lean protein that can help to stabilize blood sugar levels, keep your mood well balanced during the day. And in addition to being trusted sources of lean protein, turkey and chicken breast are also known to provide high amounts of tryptophan. Again, this is beneficial because it helps create serotonin, which assists us in maintaining our healthy sleep and a balanced mood. So just 3 ounces of roasted chicken breast offers 123% of your recommended daily intake of tryptophan. And weird fact, someone my husband knows is allergic to chicken.
Oh, wow. I know. I do better on turkey than chicken.
Yeah.
Hey, it could go back to that blood type.
It could.
Ask him blood type. No, seriously, because I just don't like chicken, and for O blood type, it's not recommended.
Yeah.
But I can do with turkey, and there are some clients at the office, and it's funny, they can do turkey, but chicken. So it may be the feed that they're giving them or the environment that they're in or
It could, but
the blood
he's
type.
like, it's not like, oh, I don't like it. It's like, if something touches the same thing as it, I'm going to have an allergic reaction.
Okay, so
Like,
that's some kind of protein in the chicken.
yeah.
Wow, that's cool. But find out what his blood type is anyway. Okay, so vegetables. Eating vegetables can be a great help if you struggle with depression. One reason is that people with depression have found to have a lower dietary intake of folate, again, folate, compared to those without depression. Folate, fiber, and other nutrients make vegetables, especially the darker, leafier greens, a wonderful choice when looking for foods to help improve and stabilize mood. Leafy green vegetables are also good sources of alpha linoleic acid, and that's ALA, is one of the three main types of omega-3 fatty acids, and the other two being DHA and EPA. When considering vegetables to help increase your omega-3s, the powerful players tend to be Brussels sprouts, spinach, kale, and watercress. Yes, we love Brussels sprouts.
We do. Shout out to Jamie. She's my Brussels sprout buddy.
All right. Well, we love them. And roasted Brussels sprouts, we make those all the time.
So good. Also, probiotics, which I feel like are just helpful most all of the time. But more and more research is linking good gut health with good mental health. So several studies have found that the right microorganisms living in your gut can play a key role in mood regulation by helping to reduce inflammation in your body, produce feel-good neurotransmitters, and affect your stress response. This might be a factor in why a higher than average number of people with irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, also develop depression as well as anxiety. So foods that contain probiotics include kimchi, kombucha, yum. There's different flavors. Try them all. Miso, sauerkraut, tempeh.
I think it's
temp. I don't know. It always looks kind of weird, so I don't need it. Tofu and yogurt.
It's fermented tofu. Temp. I don't know how they pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. At least I know what I'm buying.
Yeah.
Okay, so vitamin D. Studies have shown a link between vitamin D deficiency and depression. Researchers behind a 2013 meta-analysis noticed that study participants with depression also had low vitamin D levels. The same analysis found that statistically, people with low vitamin D were at a much greater risk of depression. Some foods containing vitamin D are salmon, sardines, herring, cod liver oil. That's excellent. If you can handle taking cod liver every day, but they make it in pills, so you don't even have to taste it, that is wonderful for most people. Okay. Canned tuna, egg yolks, and Delaney's favorite, mushrooms. Fortified foods, and of course the sun, which is food for your soul. So vitamin D, I can't stress that enough. If someone says they're depressed, ask them what their vitamin D level is. I know the standard test says 30 to 80 or something like that. Functional medicine will say 50, between 50 and 80, or all the way up to 100, but at least 50. I've talked to people who are depressed and they're on medication for it, and you ask them their vitamin D levels, and they're like 8. It's scary.
That is scary. I was close to that. I was 18.
Yeah. You bring their vitamin D levels up, and it's night and day.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, let's also give listeners some information on foods that may exacerbate depression or make it worse. So If you are coping with depression, it can be just as important to know what not to eat. And unfortunately, many of these foods are ones that people often turn to when they are having a rough day. But being aware of the negative impacts of certain foods can have on your mental health can help you make better food choices. And of course, we'll start with everyone's favorite, sugar. We know that sugary foods and drinks are not good for our bodies. Sugar can significantly impact our moods. You may be surprised how many foods are perceived as quote unquote healthy, yet contain extraordinary amounts of added sugar. Examples are granola bars, energy bars, trail mix, and honey roasted nuts. Keep in mind that sugar will not always be labeled simply as sugar on the ingredient list. In order to be on the lookout for added sugar, you may also want to look for the following terms: corn syrup, dextrose, fructose, high fructose corn syrup, or HFCS, honey, lactose, maltose, sucrose. So if it ends in an ose, probably don't like it. uh, and of course, be mindful of your choices and limit foods that are high in sugar, particularly those with added sugar, and keeping your blood sugar level more evenly balanced throughout the day can help your mood stay more evenly balanced too.
Yes. Okay. Now, refined grains. The term refined refers to forms of sugars and starches that don't exist in nature. I love that quote. As described by the psychiatrist and nutritional expert, Dr. Georgia Eid, and an MD. She goes on to share that if you are looking at a sweet or starchy whole food that you would come across exactly as in nature, you're looking at an unrefined carbohydrate. Many of the foods we seek for convenience are the very things that may be hijacking your moods. Foods such as white rice, pasta, crackers, bread, chips, and breaded foods are full of refined carbohydrates that offer little to no nutritional value and rob you of important B vitamins in the process of digestion. So again, that folate that's so important to us. Loading your diet with these refined carbohydrate foods will take your blood sugar levels on a roller coaster ride throughout the day, which can also result in symptoms of low mood and fatigue.
Yep.
And again, we talk about folate a lot, but if you're going to take a B vitamin, a well-rounded B complex, because all of them work together.
Okay. And then another thing that does not help depression is alcohol. But a side note is my liver blood test results came back and they were awesome. But anyways, you should still.
Your husband's weren't, yours were, so now you're rubbing it in his face.
Absolutely. But limiting alcohol is obviously still in your best interest if you struggle with depression or just in general. It's just limited is good. Alcohol is a depressant and can lead to impaired judgment and reaction times. Many alcoholic beverages can actually be quite sugary, which, as noted above, can have a way of sabotaging your mood and causing blood sugar levels to elevate and crash. So, as suggested by Dr. Edie,
I said Dr. Eid.
Dr.
Yeah.
Eid, Dr. EDE. Alcohol. Alcohol will not solve any of your health problems because no health problem is caused by a lack of alcohol.
That's another good quote.
That is another good quote. It's a bummer, but it's a good quote. And Mom linked her webpage into our notes because she thinks that was a very cool comment. And in her notes, she put a smiley face next to it.
Caffeine, yes. Caffeine can help you start your day with a boost. However, it can also lead to crashes later in the day and leave you feeling as though you need more to regain energy. A moderate amount of caffeine, 2 to 3 cups per day, however, has been linked to a lower suicide risk. A better alternative to coffee and energy drinks is green tea. In addition to antioxidant benefits, green tea is also known to provide theanine, an amino acid that offers an anti-stress benefit that can be helpful for people with depression.
Although there is no specific diet that has been proven to alleviate depression, we can see that there are plenty of nutrient-rich foods that can help to keep our brains healthy.
Okay, there are many modalities that can help with depression. In addition to switching your diet to whole foods, remember exercise, massage, meditation, sunshine, taking walks, or walking with your pets and hobbies are a few other things that can help elevate your mood. The affirmation Louise Hay states in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, which is also in the notes, is this one. I now go beyond other people's fears and limitations. I create my life.
Oh,
And that's
I
an
like that.
affirmation. You can write down and you say that.
But yeah, we know that depression is a common problem, and due to the pandemic, it is on the rise, sadly. According to an ABC report, in surveys conducted prior to the pandemic, 9% of respondents reported depressive symptoms. And then once the pandemic hit, that percentage jumped to 28% of respondents reporting depressive symptoms. So we're hoping that this information we shared with you today will in some way be helpful to you or someone you know. Well, thanks everyone for listening. And again, we want to hear from you guys. We always want to hear from you guys. Please, please, please reach out to us. And here are just a few ways that you can do that. You can reach out via Instagram and Facebook. Find us at Salty About Health, even Snapchat at Salty Health. You can email us at saltyabouthealth@gmail.com. Or if you just want to find all that in one place, check out our website, saltyabouthealth.com. We've got all the ways for you to listen and connect there. And finally, if you like what you hear today, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. We really appreciate it. So, Mom, if they want to hear from you on social media, where can they find you?
Okay, I am a certified health coach and I do coach one-on-one. So if you're interested, you can contact me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com. I also do research for people who are interested in finding alternative approaches to do in conjunction with the health issue or illness their doctor is treating them for. So again, just reach out to me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com.
And of course, I'll be the one mainly keeping an eye on the social media. So always happy to chat with you guys via the Salty Network. Also, just want to shout out our intro and outro music. It is by Yule, and you can find her at www.yulearts.com. That's EULARTS. You can also find her on Instagram at Yule_arts or Spotify and YouTube. Check her out. Her piano music and everything else is amazing. And until next time, stay salty.
Stay salty.